In a powerful Kelly File exclusive, one of the most influential publications in American conservative thought, publishing a dire warning from nearly 24 of the nation's best-known conservatives. Donald Trump must be stopped. Welcome to the Kelly File. I'm Megyn Kelly. Less than an hour from now, this will be the cover of the well-known National Review. The cover page titled, "Against Trump." The magazine, started by William F. Buckley Jr. more than 60 years ago, described a true conservative at the time as, quote, "a fellow standing athwart history yelling, 'Stop.'" Tonight, these conservatives joined together in an attempt to do just that, publishing their objections to the Trump candidacy, and they do not mince words. Many of these men and women will be familiar to you. 3 of them will join us in just a moment on their message that Trump is not one of them. Then we will hear from the other side. Former Trump political advisor Roger Stone is here, along with Washington Times political columnist Charles Hurt. But first, we begin with one of Donald Trump's best-known new advocates, former Alaska governor and vice presidential candidate Sarah Palin. When Mrs. Palin announced her endorsement of Mr. Trump earlier this week, she hammered the so-called Republican establishment for trying to bring him down.
Look what's happening today. Our own GOP machine, the establishment, they who would assemble the political landscape, they're attacking their own front runner. Now, would the left ever, would the DNC ever come after their front runner and her supporters? No, because they don't eat their own. They don't self-destruct. But for the GOP establishment to be coming after Donald Trump's supporters, even with accusations that are so false, they are so busted.
Joining us now, the man who organized this effort to stop Donald Trump, National Review editor Rich Lowry. Rich, good to see you.
Hi, Megyn.
So when Palin gave her that endorsement, many said Trump has won over the conservative base. That's an endorsement from the conservative base. And you and the others at National Review stand up tonight and say, not so. Why?
Yeah, one big takeaway from what we're doing is not the establishment necessarily that's opposing Donald Trump. You have a bunch of lobbyists on K Street right now hiding under their desks, figuring out how they can deal with Trump or perhaps co-opt him. And the point we're making, it's up to conservatives who think that Donald Trump, whatever his virtues are, doesn't truly understand the ideas and principles that make this country great. It's up to those conservatives to stand up and say, no, sorry, we oppose this guy.
When you read the 22 pieces that were submitted to National Review by very well-known conservatives and Republicans in the country, I mean, Andy McCarthy among them, Michael Mukasey, and so on, the list goes, Glenn Beck as the first name in the list, what themes emerged to you?
Well, there are a couple. One, if you truly are conservative, you believe in ideas and principles. It's not just attitudes. It's not just who you dislike. It's limited government. It's the Constitution, it's liberty. Those are the things that truly make this country special. And they are basically afterthoughts to Donald Trump. He almost never talks about them. And if you're truly a conservative, you have a consistent record. We all change our minds on a few things every now and then when the facts change, but he has been on the other side on big, hot-button, defining issues like abortion, gun control, taxes, and even immigration.
He points to Ronald Reagan, saying he, too, came across the aisle after having been on the other side, and that he's had that genuine evolution himself.
And Ronald Reagan spent about 30 or 40 years marinating in conservative thought and advocating for conservative ideas. He just didn't show up one day and said, hey, guess what, now I'm a conservative. And another problem with Trump is he seems to believe what this country needs is a really effective strongman to make the trains run on time, when what we really need is the government to be cut down to size, restored to its rightful role, and then focus on the really important things, like the borders and like creating the conditions for growth.
One of the pieces points out is that the country was born in an effort to avoid a heavy-handed leader who thought he could just make it better, and to re-empower the people to govern themselves, as opposed to vest all this power in one man who said he could do it.
Right. Now he's a very talented politician. He has proven that over the last 6 to 8 months, and he's hit a nerve, and he's gone where the energy is. And a lot of times, I'm laughing and applauding right along with his supporters. But conservatism is more than that. And I don't even believe, I think even on immigration, he is really conning people. This is someone who 3 or 4 short years ago was criticizing nice, pleasant, polite Mitt Romney for being too harsh on immigration. It wouldn't surprise me if one day Donald Trump, if he gets the nomination, wakes up the next day and says, you know what, deporting people, the best people in the country have told me it's not possible. Forget it.
Rich, thank you.
Thanks, Megan.